to put the information in the chat. Or I'm going to put the email in the chat for Katya. If you're interested, oh, it's really tiny, sorry. Let's see if I can make it bigger. That bigger? No, not really. Well, you'll have to copy and blow it up. If you're interested in applying for a scholarship, you can contact Katya, and then there's also the registration link for this masterclass. Okay. So rearrange things a little bit here so I can see some shining faces. And then, of course, we are studying ACI 17, the great ideas of Buddhism. And we're in class 10 and we are reviewing ACI course 10, which is the first of 3 courses about the Bodhicitta avatar, the Bodhisattva's way of life. So we jump right into how to develop bodhicitta. So we talked about on Tuesday that we need to get rid of the obstacles that get in our way to develop the wish. And the first 2 things that we covered were purification and then doing good stuff, collecting what we call the collection of merit, doing good deeds. So that's basically what we go through when we warm up for meditation session, right? We sit down, we think about someone who inspires us. We make an offering to them. And then we confess what we didn't do so well. Right? And then again, we think about something good we did or something good someone else did. Maybe it's all the people who are taking this course with us, right? And then we ask them to stay, and then we dedicate it. So in that, we are going through collecting a whole lot of goodness and doing purification. Those are our preliminaries to meditation that we do whenever we sit down, or at least if you're doing multiple sessions a day, it would be at least in your first session. In ACI 3, which is the course on meditation, Geshe Michael introduced us to Gandentlagema. It's a practice called 1,000 Angels of the Heaven of Bliss. And that's pretty much most of the practice, or a good part of that practice. You can find it in ACI 3, and then there's also a practice course number 10 that you can get from, what's it called? The knowledge base. So people get, excited about meditation, and they talk about shamatha like it's a skill you can get over a weekend. What is shamatha? Shamatha is single-pointed focus, a sustained single-pointed focus on your object of meditation. We have experienced single-pointed concentration when we're watching a really good movie or we're reading a really good book or having a deep conversation with someone, and we're not aware of anything outside of us, right? Just single-pointedly focused. And although it's not impossible to achieve that kind of focus in meditation, over a weekend, it's really necessary to do these preliminaries before you even try to meditate properly. And part of developing bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta, right, is the direct perception of emptiness. And you need to be able to meditate deeply and have shamatha so that you can experience emptiness directly. And the preliminaries, they help clearing away the obstacles so that our minds are just calm and they can reflect things like a mirror does or a still pond. And then we also collect our goodness. So the Bodhisattva vows, we need to have our mind focused deeply when we take them. And this is at Diamond Mountain several years ago, which you can see it was a very small group of people there. I believe it was during the time of COVID, and these were just the people who were helping to produce the teachings at Diamond Mountain. So it was a very small group. And the ceremony, the initial ceremony, the first ceremony includes purifying obstacles, collecting positive energy, the ceremony to get the wish, and taking joy after the ceremony occurs. So after the ceremony, you sit and just sit in a place that is full of the emotion of joy, of having done this incredible commitment to every being in the world. You have taken the steps necessary to become an enlightened being. Excuse me. And this step, like, cements it in your mind and sets the stage for your bodhicitta increasing after the ceremony. Just as important is to prepare yourself for the ceremony. It's important, it's a requirement to think about what a good thing you did after preparing yourself, right? After you've gone through the ceremony. the good thing you did in taking that commitment to even begin to think like a bodhisattva. So taking joy does two things. In this particular instance, it prevents bodhicitta from getting lost. That means it prevents your wish from getting lost. And it's so new. It's like a baby bodhicitta. You want to protect it like you would an infant. And not only does it prevent your bodhicitta from getting lost, but it causes it to increase ever further. And there are two parts to taking joy. Being happy for yourself and being happy you got bodhicitta for other people. So rejoicing in yourself and rejoicing in that you're doing this for other beings, right? At the end of the ceremony, it says, now finally my life has some meaning. Born as a human, I have joined the family of Buddhas. And now, no matter, that should say what, no matter what, I will undertake those things that fit the family I've found. I will never disgrace my pure and noble family. That's the joy that we take. That's the commitment we make to ourselves and to others. And to think that you have joined the family of the Buddhas and you're a baby Buddha? It's so, I don't know, it just fills me with joy. It's so sweet, right? And at that very moment, it is the purest and the cleanest that it's ever going to be because it's so new and fresh. So when you take your vows, or remember back to the moment that you took your vows, just think about it for a moment and rejoice in that moment. So this helps to uplift us, right? And there are four specific things that uplift our hearts as we first gain the two forms of the wish. What are the two forms of the wish? I'm looking. Nobody knows the two forms of the wish? Oh, thank you, Marcus. The wish in the form of action, I got it. And the wish, it keeps coming in fast now, and in thought. So which one comes first? Prayer, yes. The wish in the form of thought comes first, right? So I'm going to go through four different things that uplift our hearts. And this first one is that my life has become fruitful. It has some meaning finally, right? I have a purpose in life. Persis, are you okay? Okay. It has some meaning, our lives have some meaning. I remember when I birthed my son, it was like, oh, now I know what I'm doing with my life. I'm a mom now, right? It gave my life a totally different meaning. And then when he was older and I took my Bodhisattva vows, it was like that again. Now my life even has deeper meaning, not just taking care of one other person, but committing to taking care of infinite beings. So my life has become fruitful. And there's a second part to this, which is I have truly achieved a human rebirth. What does that mean? It means that you're reaching for your highest potential as a human being. We've been born again. We've been born as a child of the Buddhas. And then there is a third one, right? Today I've been born into the family of the Buddhas. Pretty cool, huh? And then the fourth one is I have become a child of the Buddhas. So I think even as you think about these four now, as we go through them, you can feel how it uplifts your heart. Even if you haven't taken the vows or taken the wish, right? It uplifts you to think about, wow, that's so cool. And these are in your whole life, we waste a lot of time in our lives. Here, in doing this act and putting your mind into this sweet spot, you can be supremely, ultimately, highly happy that you did it. So now that you have this commitment, right? Once you've taken the wish and or the action of being a bodhisattva, you should wish to keep it and keep it nicely, right? To do that, think about how rare it is what you have just done. How incredibly special and rare. You're like one in a million, right? Think of almost no one has bodhicitta or even the thought of wanting to have it. You're pretty special because you have determined, you're determined to make every act that you do be for the benefit of other beings. You have said that you are going to commit, right? Everything you give, to give up your whole life to try to reach enlightenment for others. That is incredibly rare. So rejoice that you have had that opportunity to get the bodhicitta commitment. And I highly recommend whenever bodhisattva vows are given at a retreat, that you renew your vows if you've already taken them. And if you haven't taken them, There's a whole course about them, which you are required to do before taking them. So you know what you're getting into. Right? Is it ACI? I always forget the numbers. ACI 7? Yes. Thank you, everybody. ACI 7, Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva vows. You can learn all about it. So, what power does the wish have to remove suffering? Turn off my phone. First of all, it destroys the Lord of death in every being. You now have the seeds for the power to stop your own death. You also have the seeds to have the power to help stop other beings' deaths. And we need to nurture that seed, right? It destroys material and spiritual poverty. How does that work? You know what causes material need, and you understand the karmic causes to change that situation. And maybe you even know your root lama, your heart lama, right? At least you know all about the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And you know that they are with you all the time. And you don't have to feel lonely or alone ever again. If you fight your normal fear in situations, if you fight the fear of being alone in the world and think about them, they will appear to you quickly. How do they appear? Probably they appear in some peace of mind and knowing that you're not alone, of knowing that they are there with you. Very few of us have the ability to like see them, and probably even fewer to see them in a physical form, right? You have to be a very, very high spiritual being to do that. But we have a sense that they are there, right? Number 3 is the wish destroys physical illness and negative thoughts of, right? Negative thoughts about other people. It's like number 1. It destroys the general suffering of others. And lastly, it destroys the sufferings of the 3 lower realms. How? Well, here, first of all, we can say, consider the emptiness of birth in the 3 lower realms. But for more, how can bodhicitta remove the suffering of every living being? Once a person has reached total enlightenment, they are perfectly qualified to teach and help others reach the goal. Are there really self-existent beings out there who are suffering? How does an enlightened being really help every living being? These are questions to ask yourself, to find the answers. If the path involves kindness and benefit to beings who, just like everything else in the universe, are projections from our own seeds, how would enlightenment change that projection? Does that mean that there are no suffering beings? And one more, maybe two more questions. What are we fighting with when we're trying to remove the suffering of ourselves and others? Who is the enemy? The big enemy is nyomo, klesha, negative thoughts. Nyomo is Tibetan, klesha is Sanskrit, and negative thoughts is English. Geshe used to call it mental afflictions. He doesn't like that translation anymore. It's like, what's a mental affliction? Negative thoughts. And it is so whether we call it negative thoughts, mental affliction, klesha, nyomo, it's a mental function which ruins your peace of mind when you have it, right? So, of course, we have to decide what we're talking about, why they are the enemy, right? And what kind of war we're going to have with them. In the Bodhisattva's way of life, the first part is rather dry, technical stuff. But then at this point, Master Shantideva gives us a plan for waging war against our negative thoughts. The Sanskrit word klesha comes from the root klish, which means to bother or disturb, distress, harass, right? So these are any thoughts that bother us, right? Bug us, disturb our state of mind, distress us, harass us. And the definition is exactly what this says: a mental function which ruins the peace of mind of the person who has it. It can be subtle, it can be gross, right? Or obvious. Reaching nirvana is to remove all of your negative thoughts forever. Right? Wouldn't that, think how that would be not to have a negative thought in your mind ever again. It'd be delicious, right? So negative thoughts hurt you because they make you unhappy. They ruin your day. That's their function, is to make you unhappy. And there's no unhappy state of mind which is virtuous other than regret. Any unhappy state of mind is a non-virtue. And there are 6 top negative thoughts. First one is duchak, liking things ignorantly. Other places it's called desire or attachment, right? For this to be a mental affliction and therefore a non-virtue, you must like a thing which you see as self-existent in your mind. You think it's self-existent. You like it self-existently and you don't want to lose it. You want to hold it. So to be a negative thought, a mental affliction, you must misunderstand the object. This also implies that you would do a non-virtue to get or keep the things you like. Number 2, ignorant disliking, kontro. In other places, it's called anger or hatred. Just so, when you hear these words, you know what they're talking about. And it means seeing something in your mind as self-existent and being willing to do non-virtue to avoid it this time. Ignorant liking is doing a non-virtue to keep it. And this one is doing a non-virtue to avoid it. So what's a good example of this? When someone yells at you, yelling back at them. When someone argues with you, arguing back at them, right? We think that that's going to get them to stop doing it. Does it work? Very rarely. And if it does, is that the reason it worked? Because if it was, it would work 100% of the time, right? Number 3, Nagyel, me king, pride. Feeling like you're better than others based upon real or imagined qualities. Having self-confidence or pride which lifts you up or motivates you is fine. And that's quite similar to rejoicing in true goodness. But pride, where you're very full of yourself and treat others badly or arrogantly, condescendingly, is an affliction. I'm better than you. I know more than you do. I know better than you. I this, I that, right? I think every human being has it to some extent. Some of us have it more than others. And it's our major mental affliction. You can see which is your major negative way of thinking, right? Pride affects our mind. It also karmically leads to stupidity and dull mental faculties. What's something you can do to counteract Nagyel, focus on the impermanence of your good qualities. Like the impermanence of your mental capacity or qualities. Like my memory isn't what it used to be, even 10 years ago. It's impermanent. It's only because of good seeds that you have that quality. And is that something that you need to, we would say in English, lord over people? Like put yourself up on a big throne because somebody in the past created the good seeds to have a good intellect and it's going to run out? We should be grateful to that person in the past, right? Number 4, ignorance, or we call it misunderstanding these days, marikwa. And that is not clearly understanding things like the laws of karma. This does not refer to seeing things as self-existent. It's more, here it refers more to not understanding the laws of karma, how seeds work. Then we have doubt, tetsom. This is lazy doubt. This is like sitting back and not really analyzing or evaluating things, ideas, concepts with your mind. And then you just kind of throw it out, right? So you don't accept or fully pursue a teaching or practice because you're too lazy to really think about it, to find out about it, to investigate it actively, right? You don't feel like making the effort to clarify things because then you'll have to act on it if you do. And you might not want to put that effort in, right? That's what Tetsom is about. And then number 6, wrong views. Tawa. Everybody say tawa. Tawa. There are 5 worldviews you can have, which are primarily negative thoughts. The first one is what we call the perishable view, meaning it ends. It means something that we're focused on that's going to end. What's the big one? Me and mine. Right? That's the big one. And if we didn't have this wrong view, we wouldn't have any negative thoughts. So that's the first one. The second is extreme view, that things are either unchanging or non-existent. Those are the 2 extremes, if you remember studying those. And then there's wrong view, which is throwing out the concept of karma and past and future lives. We're not talking about putting it on the shelf here. We're talking about throwing it out totally. Number 4 is holding wrong views as the highest path. And number 5 is holding mistaken views regarding extreme practices like hurting yourself as a spiritual practice. We see it in many different religions where people think that harming their bodies will bring them closer to their spiritual goal. So these 6 primary negative thoughts are the curse of humanity. And they are your enemy. They cause us great suffering. They've ruined our life, right? So make war on this enemy. Get rid of them. Recognize, seek, and destroy them. Don't tolerate them for even an instant in your mind. The minute you feel it coming up, it's like war on them, right? I'm coming after you. Nope, nope, I'm not listening. Nope, 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 right? Cancer and aging are caused by the negative thoughts that created this suffering body. Stress, bad habits, every nasty thing in our lives come from them. So this is a holy war. It's the only war that's acceptable. In Islam, they have a holy war for exactly the same thing, going after your enemy, the real enemy, your negative thoughts. We have it in Buddhism as well. Our main weapon that we have is to understand the emptiness of the object, to know where it's coming from. Another thing that we can do is to study karma and understand what bad thoughts will do to our future, and then to intelligently smash them. Kadrin, we can see you. Kadrin, turn off your camera. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. If you realize the severity, of this problem, you're going to pay a price and do anything it takes, right? Ultimately, understand that emptiness is the only way to stop bad thoughts. So finally, now we know what negative thoughts are. And now Master Shantideva says, consider these things your mortal enemy. So why is that? They leave me powerless. They send me to unthinkable suffering. The time they hurt me is infinite. And why shouldn't I make friends with my negative thoughts? Master Shanti Deva says you should wage war. If you are brave and you fight your negative thoughts, where do you fight them? In your, yes. Thank you, Irina. In your mind, right? Then they're going to fight back. And why does it seem that they get worse? Are they getting worse? I would say it's because you're finally paying attention to what's going on in your mind for the first time. And you're noticing it. It does take effort. Those of you who are doing a 6 times book, you know what a 6 times book is, where you check your vows 6 times a day, right? When you first, thank you, Persis, when you first, yeah, 6 times book, right? When you first heard about it, you were like, ooh, that's really cool. And then after a few months, few years, your book looks like this, right? Not like this. So, and then we just have these books laying around. Use your books. Think of them as your weapon and make a commitment. Think of it as warfare against your negative thoughts in your mind. And Master Shantideva then goes on to say, warriors, which we are, right? We're bodhisattva warriors going off after our negative thoughts are motivated, he says, like warriors in an army, right? They're motivated by the blood. Like most of the time when we see blood, or many, many people, when they see blood, they faint. But a warrior gets fiercer when they see blood and they fight harder, right? So if you see yourself finally getting into this battle with your negative thoughts, and it gets harder and harder, just keep at it. Be inspired by it. And as the Diamond Cutter Sutra says, when you begin to do this, crap happens. And it's a sign that you're not just doing the same old thing again. And the negative thoughts will assert themselves because they want to keep control over you. Just like in The Angel and the Devil, which Geshe will be continuing to teach very soon here. So Gyaltse talks about two strong feelings, two strong emotions. And he discusses whether or not they are afflictions, right? Love for the path, desire for the path, and hatred for negative emotions. Right? Are they love for the path? Are they desire? And is hatred for negative emotions aversion? And he says no, because these two have to be willing to do something harmful to get or avoid the object. He says that the idea that a strong love for the path is desire and hatred for your negative thoughts are negative thoughts themselves. Because they are elements of the path itself. So the path, which helps you destroy the negative thoughts, they cannot be considered part of a group of objects which must be eliminated from the mind, right? We want them. We need them to help destroy our negative thoughts. And then he goes on to say that the commentaries which explain that these two attitudes must be eliminated later are only referring to the fact that once the negative thoughts have been eliminated, these two will no longer function in the fight against the negative thoughts. So negative states of mind like anger, sorrow, feeling justified to judge people are never going to produce any positive results. The only negative state of mind that will produce positive results is hating your negative thoughts, regret for doing harmful things. We need it. It helps to guide us. It helps to clean up our obstacles, our negative thoughts, our negative ways of thinking and acting. It's an important part of the path. And these negative thoughts that we have, they depend on the basic misperception of where things come from. Why? If our misperception were gone, if we could look at a person or situation and see that we're merely putting something on it, right? We are creating it. It's like it's a story that we create, just like a movie that we can watch on the screen. If we saw it as that, we would not perceive it in the same way. Where do our stories come from? Somebody asked me this recently. What about our stories? We change our stories all the time, right? We create our world with stories. We just don't realize it. And we can create different stories. Instead of that person is hurting me, maybe they're trying to show you something to get you to step up to a higher place, right? So, what can we use to counteract our negative thoughts? First thing is practice the 6 perfections. And the second thing is remember this thing, right? Remember the pen. Remember the 2 husbands in the kitchen. Those 2 things, the 6 perfections, that includes keeping our 6 times book, right? And remembering the thing that you're writing your with in your 6 times book, remember where it's coming from. So the 6 perfections, we need to remind ourselves of what those are, right? Chimpa, giving. You have renunciation, so you're not as concerned with your possessions, so it's possible to give away things nicely. You're not concerned with your time so much, so you're able to give it. And something is tickling my throat, so I'm going to get some more water here. You guys can do the same. So that's the first perfection, the perfection of generosity, of giving, of sharing, right? Number 2 is being good, sultra. This is living ethically, morally. And because you have renunciation, you're able to share what you have. And because of that, you don't get so attached to your belongings, to your house, your job, your time, your comfort. Oh. So it's easy then, if you're not so attached to things, to keep your ethical commitments and vows. Supa, not getting upset when you think you should, not getting angry, because you're restraining yourself from committing negative actions. And if you're doing that, it's easy not to get angry at living beings. And of course, you're understanding that they're not coming this way. They're coming from here. The 4th perfection, joyful effort. If you don't feel any anger in your life, and you're more willing then to endure hardships, and these hardships come with living living in a way to perfect your practice of the Dharma, that then leads to experiencing joy and doing good deeds. Concentration, samten. And because you're focusing on doing good deeds day and night, you're able to achieve single-pointed concentration. You have a clear mind and heart. There's no waves on it, right? And number 6, wisdom, shadow. Because you reach a state where body and mind are well trained for meditation, you can realize wisdom, which understands the nature of all things. You understand how the world works. Right? Question for all of you. Do the perfections depend on its external perfection? And speech, we raise these kindnesses to produce a state of being where we can help all other beings stop their that samsara that continues over and over and over again. So there are material things that we talk about. There's protection from fear. There's offering dharma, and there's love. So we attract others to the dharma by giving them things. You know, you make people comfortable. You offer material things. You offer them protection from fear. You make people comfortable first. Then you offer them ways to improve their life. Relationships, health, money, right? Those are all things to attract people to the Dharma. How do I improve those? And then they can think about the other things, which is the ultimate love. So, material things. We use these material things and know when to use them and when not to use them, when to give and when not to give. So you don't break any vows to give things. But if it's going to help others and you can, give it to them. And you will be challenged. I think I've told this story before, which is it was probably in the fall, and I was in New York City when Geshe Michael was still teaching there. I went to stay for a while and study with him. And we had all gone out to the movies together, and I was going home on my own. And as I was approaching the subway, 2 guys came up to me and asked me for my jacket. And I was like, I didn't want to give them my jacket, and they needed it. They needed it as much as I did. And I was like, no, I need my jacket. This is my jacket. I said, no, sorry. But you know what? I had another jacket or sweater back where I was staying. I didn't need to. I didn't think about it till afterwards. I went, man, I missed a chance, an opportunity to help somebody else. And they just came up and asked me for it, and I didn't do it. Could that have been an angel testing my bodhicitta? That's the way I took it. It was like, okay, I got the message. I ain't doing that again, right? So we will be, they're checking on us and they're helping us by showing us our own minds. So the other part of giving is advice not to hurt the body in order to achieve minor goals. Take care of your health and your family. Don't hurt yourself by giving away your entire bank account or your house if you need it to live on for basic needs. Don't go crazy with it. And there is an explanation for the proper time and purpose for which to give one's body. And the proper means a state of no regret in the bardo as you're casting the dice for your next rebirth. Very few of us probably will have to deal with that until we're at a higher level when we even think we want to give away our own body, right? And to be able to do it with no regret. And that, my dears, sums up all of ACI 17 and the first course on the Bodhisattva's way of life. And your meditation, for however long you want to do it, is contemplating whether the perfection of giving does or does not depend on its external perfection. So don't just take our word for it. Think about it, cook it, right? And with that, I would like to offer a mandala in thanksgiving to our teachers who have passed this down, to Master Shantideva, to all of the tech, all of the interpreters, to everybody. Let's offer them this pure world. Let me see. Emily Chan, would you lead us in reciting the mandala prayer, either in English or Tibetan? And those of you who want to say it in your own language, please feel free to do that.
I will do the English one as the PowerPoint show. Here is the great earth filled with the smell of incense, covered with the blanket of flowers, the great mountains, the full continents, wearing the jewel of the sun and moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Mandala Mandala Kamya Tayami.
Thank you. Stay here.
Thank you.
And then let's dedicate the goodness of everything that we have done these last 5 weeks, that you have done, that you're going to continue to do, to peace and the end of suffering in our world, to kindness and generosity, to health, right? Long life. And if you have specific people you would like to dedicate it to, please do that. Go ahead, Emily.
By the goodness of what I have just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make.
So thank you, everybody. And hope to see you online again, either in this class or another, I mean, not this class, in another class or somebody else's class or in retreat. I look forward to seeing all of you. And it's just so wonderful to know that there's so many of us all over the world doing this. It's like little little lights all over the world, and it makes the world so much better and a better place to live in. And know that, we're all working on doing this together. Yeah. Okay. Until next time, I see you.
Thank you so much, dear teacher. Please stay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gracias, Roxana. Excelente como siempre. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for